Welcome to episode 175 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg. My co-host, Warren Sklar, is on vacation this week out in London, enjoying his time as we've been seeing some posts. But back on the show, Mr. Jeff Gamet. Welcome back to the show, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I will do my best to live up to Warren's standards.
Yeah. There's some high standards here we have to follow here. So,
yeah.
But so we had a busy week here with Apple. Right as we were recording the show, they already posted all the quarterly results, and so we'll be talking about that. Some news stories. iOS 15.1 hit the streets, and iOS 15.2 followed suit right after that. So, as you can anticipate, we're going to have a lot to talk about this week. So let's go ahead and just jump right in here. The first story I have here, Mac Rumors. Display Analyst, 4.7-inch 5G iPhone SE Plus coming in 2022. The iPhone SE3 with larger display is planned for 2024. So a rumor has suggested, so we're doing a little rumors this week. Rumors have suggested Apple is working on a next generation version of the iPhone SE that is set to be released in 2022. A new rumor from the Display Analyst, Ross Young, suggests that Apple will call this device the iPhone SE Plus, even though it is not going to be getting a bigger display. And he's saying the upcoming SE will feature the same 4.7-inch LCD screen. It's available on the current version, but I think really it's going to have a lot of what the 10R was, but updated guts, and of course 5G, which I think would probably be the biggest thing, because that's the biggest downfall of the SE right now is you're stuck in the LTE world. I think this is something exciting. I mean, Apple definitely needs to keep going with the lower end market. What do you think?
I think this is not a difficult prediction to make.
Yeah.
At some point, 5G is coming to the SE line. It just seems like a given. The part that I think is wrong is the Plus.
Yeah,
because I think they'll just keep going with the SE name, and there could be a number after it or not, but I don't think they'll put a plus on it.
Be surprised. I would be all surprised if they did do that. They've been kind of staying away from the S and the Plus and all that. It seems, as of late. So we've gone 11, 12, and 13 with no derivatives after that. I think the last one was the 10R, I believe, or the 10S. I think one of the last the secondary models. So yeah, so I would be all surprised they wouldn't not do that.
And I don't think there's any product Apple is currently making that uses Plus or and any of the what I'll now call old school monikers.
Yep. Nope. That's for sure.
So I don't see it coming back.
Nope. I definitely don't think so as well. Next story. This is actually about the iOS update. Those of you still on iOS 14, which I'm sure there's a fair amount of you out there, Apple did release an updated version of iOS 14.8.1 and iPadOS 14.8.1 with some more security updates. It was some minor updates to both OSs. A little more than a month after the 14.8 version came out, that was a huge security fix. And it can be downloaded as free software update, of course, if you go into the settings, general software update. So highly recommend that you go out and download this if you are still continuing to be on iOS 14, which Apple is making it optional still. They aren't forcing it just yet. So not forcing it, but really suggesting it, I guess I should say. So, but I'm sure you agree. Anybody who's still running rockin' 14.8, go get this update, right?
Go get the update. I'm going to channel my inner Warren.
Yeah.
I don't know why you aren't already running iOS 15, but if you're not, just put this update on your phone. How was that?
No, that was perfect. And he's already on. Awesome. We know. We know what he's already on 15.2 beta, and he probably did it while he was in London. So I guess we'll find out next week.
Probably because he's just a wild man.
He really is when it comes to beta. So go out, get that update. thought this was an interesting story. This is, again, all earned Mac rumors here. Amazon is going to be coming out with TVs. About time. Took them like forever because that was always rumored that they were going to come out with models that would integrate their Amazon Echo or the A-Lady. But reason we're talking about here today is the Fire TVs will support AirPlay 2 and HomeKit in a future update. They announced this week. Amazon's Omni and 4 Series Omni TVs they launched this week, which are featuring 4K HDR, voice controls, Amazon A-Lady, and close integration with the Fire TV use experience. No surprise there. And upon launch, with the TVs, they are going to add that support with AirPlay 2 and HomeKit really soon. I think that's a smart move there on Amazon's part. So now you can use your iPhone, your iPad to be able to integrate to a TV. So I'm not even sure who's making these TVs, but actually I think they're saying it's Toshiba and Insignia, which is Insignia is basically a Best Buy brand. So it is low end, but hey, Amazon, like anything, getting into the market. What do you think of this?
Yeah, of course. Amazon has the model of we let other people make stuff, and then we will eventually put our own sticker on something. And then just try and take that market. So yeah, of course, Amazon TVs. The thing with HomeKit and AirPlay support, I like that they're doing it, and I think it's a strategic move, not specifically to get people in the Apple ecosystem to buy their televisions, but also because if you want to try and forestall antitrust investigations, a great way to do it is to put someone else's services onto your device.
Yep. It's easiest way to get it, I think.
Yep.
So
and this is the right service to put on because currently Apple services aren't that big of a threat to Amazon services.
Yep. No, not at all. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Won't be too much effect on what we talk about, but it's a TV. We all have our TVs, and I'm going to be pretty confident that Amazon's going to sell quite a few of them.
I'm sure they will because it will be priced to undercut their competitors.
No question. Next story, Apple Music is now going to be available on the PS5. This is in Engadget. Now, being able to listen to your music while playing games and watching music videos, it'll be 4K in the Apple Music app. So Spotify is not the only service in town for PlayStation 5 owners. You can now stream music while you're playing any games on your PS5. This is the first game console that's going to have Apple Music integration. And, of course, subscribers have access to 90 million plus songs. So this is good news. I think Apple is continuing to extend their services for other platforms and just gets more stuff out there. Don't you think?
Yep. The Netflix strategy is the strategy to follow, which is get your service on every device you possibly can. Absolutely.
Yep. And one more change here we'll talk about is actually not a change. This was a kind of, I think, a little bit of a snafu on Apple's part. We reported last week that Apple that Apple was offering 6% cash back with the Apple Card, but it turns out it was an error and it will be issuing credits to affected users. It was actually over a day after we had talked about this last week that you're only eligible 3% cash back, and many users have noticed that some were showing 6%. And it said in an email to the Apple Card users that were affected, they confirmed the error and then they will honor the 6% cash back for the affected users. Well, that's nice of them. You made a mistake. You can't just go back on it, right?
Yep, they handled that exactly right.
Yeah,
fess up to the error, but follow through for the people that it impacted.
Absolutely. But it just seems like there's a lot of problems with the Apple Card lately. I mean, there was problems with the Mac purchases when the Macs came out. Right. And then, of course, I reported on the iPhone 13 snafu. I almost didn't get my iPhone. And I don't know what's going on with Apple and Goldman Sachs with their continued issues with Apple Card.
That's a really good question. And I bet that sitting in on some of the meetings where they're trying to hash this out would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, well,
I bet there are some angry voices on Apple's side.
there's got to be. It's got to be. So, especially having now give out this extra 3%. It was a one-time shot, so it's not going to cost them that much.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's not.
No, that's a little peon, a little minuscule of what the Apple is in their $1 trillion. So,
right.
And Apple TV Plus. I thought this was interesting news. I am a Comcast or Xfinity customer. It is coming to the Comcast and Sky devices, which is in the UK. So the Apple TV Plus will be coming to Comcast devices, which is their X1 technology. So it expands the range even more with Apple TV's streaming service and expanding its audience to even more customers. Because Comcast, it's quite an audience. There's a lot of customers around the United States that are Comcast Xfinity customers, and it was this news was actually broke today as we record this from the CEO of Comcast, Brian Roberts, and he said during the company's quarterly earnings call that they had agreed with a deal with Apple that will see Apple TV Plus come to the Comcast devices on its own Xfinity Stream app. So you actually, I use the Xfinity Stream app all the time from my iPhone and my iPad. So now I'm going to go in one place, be able to watch Apple TV Plus without having to bounce out and go into another app. So this is pretty exciting news, I think.
Yeah, it is. And there we go. The Netflix strategy, once again.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, I see some irony.
Yeah.
Because what Comcast is doing is what I think Apple wanted to do with Apple TV Plus and, with the whole TV app system and failed, which is to give us a unified experience for all of our content. And Apple really hasn't been able to get the buy-in that they needed. But with Comcast bringing Apple TV Plus into their fold, then that's actually getting us closer to what I think Apple's intent was.
Yep.
And it's just not Apple that's going to pull it off.
Nope. And they just continue to add to more platforms. And my question is the Apple TV device is it going to still continue to be relevant? I don't know if as they continue to,
yes,
and I guess that would be a good answer because I agree with you because the Apple TV device I think is probably far superior as far as interface goes, but as long as Apple wants to continue on with having their device as well as being on others, I think it'll all work in harmony, I guess.
It will, and the Apple TV device. It's more than just Apple TV Plus.
True.
It's a casual gaming console. It is a HomeKit bridge. It is a place where you can access other Apple services that aren't part of Apple TV Plus, and so it's a Nexus device for all these things that Apple offers. And when you switch over to Apple TV Plus on other devices, it's just Apple's content service.
Yep.
So there's still a place for the Apple TV box.
That makes sense.
And I expect that place will exist for quite a while.
Absolutely. And then last story, we talked about it on the show last week with Brian and Holden. This was some breaking news last week that Apple had introduced and released a polishing cloth. And it was probably one of the more important products out there. I'm kind of kidding, but
worthy of a keynote.
It was worthy. It wasn't even. Did they mention the keynote? I don't even remember them mentioning it. I don't think they didn't. Yeah, we found out after. So of course I promptly went and bought it. It was $20, and I'm excited. It's coming tomorrow, so I'll get to be able to see it. But
that's awesome.
So some people have already got it, including iFixit, and I've got a link here in the news here. This is a teardown teaser. They were doing a teardown of the MacBook Pro polishing cloth. It's a detour because of course they're more their focus of getting the teardown of the brand new M1 Pro and M1 Pro M1 Max MacBook Pros. So they actually did a teardown of the polishing cloth, and to tell you what it's made of, and it's got some fuzziness to it. It's synthetic leather. Seems like just kind of similar to the iPad case in the thin layer of microfiber on the inside. They tore it down, and they said it's a 0 out of 10 repairability. I'm surprised.
That's what I expected it would get. And shame on Apple.
Gosh.
For that. Yeah. So I have heard that the cloth that Apple's selling for $19 is actually designed specifically to not damage their own displays,
right?
And it ships with their display. So selling it as a separate thing, now you can get it for your MacBook Pro since it has the same type of display. I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
But if you're going to charge $19 for it, you probably should give people a really good explanation of what it is that makes this cloth cost that much. And my guess is that there actually is something special about it.
Yeah.
But since Apple hasn't told us exactly what that is, they will just have to live with the ribbing that we will continually give them for selling us a $19 cleaning cloth.
Well, I hope it's going to do well with my, because I believe it is okay using it with your iPad or your iPhone, your Apple Watch for that matter, or even any other MacBook Pro, because it is a microfiber cloth. So,
Yep.
I will report back and my findings with this fine quality cloth I'll be receiving next week.
I can't wait to hear how it improves your life.
I can't wait either. It was worth every penny of that $20 I spent. So.
Can you get Apple Care on that?
I hope so. I don't want it to tear.
Right.
So anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the topics this week. And as I said earlier, Apple's announced their quarterly results today as we record this. So we're still absorbing all the information. So we're going to just kind of briefly talk about what the results were. Always have links to 6 Colors because Jason Snell and his crew always does a great analysis with some barcode graphs, making everything pretty and finding out what everything is done, because Apple isn't really disclosing where their breakdown is. But Apple did report quarterly results for the fourth quarter. They had $20.6 billion in profit on $83.4 billion in revenue. I mean, to me, that's so much money. And then they're still saying that they didn't meet expectations, as they always do. And the stock has gone down 4% in after hours trading. No surprise. But the gross margin for the quarter, 42.2% compared to 38.2% last year. I mean, just phenomenal numbers. And iPhone obviously continues to be the dominant device of all the items they sell. I mean, the Macs have gone up. I mean, 11% for Mac now. That's like insane for Mac. I mean, I remember they were like 5 and 6% of the market share, but now they have 11% of their revenue is now part of Mac. Is pretty impressive.
Well, they got over the problem they had, which was that they weren't giving us new products, and they weren't giving us new products that had significant improvements.
Right.
And now they are, and look at that. People are suddenly buying more Macs.
Yeah, of course, that doesn't even include the new Macs that just came out. This is up through September, so it'll be interesting to see where those numbers come after the first quarter of 2022, where this happens. So it's definitely going to be interesting. But if you look at 6 Colors breakdown, other big huge jump was services, 22%. Wow, I mean the services piece is just increased just tenfold. I mean, it's just best ever when it comes to this. And the iPad showed some really big, huge numbers still year over from third quarter to fourth quarter, 21% revenue change. And iPhone revenue almost $38.9 billion. in sales for iPhone. I mean, just iPhone in itself is just just continues, and I think as they continue to create new products, they're going to continue to excel with this. I mean, yeah, people weren't too terribly excited about the iPhone 13 because there wasn't a huge dramatic change between the 12 and the 13, but enough that it got some activity.
Based on sales,
must be people are interested.
People are excited.
Yep.
They're buying it.
Yep. So a couple of things that were reported that they're having some potential challenges. One of them was Apple. Tim Cook did talk about that they are focusing on App Store privacy and security of the App Store because they have been dealing with some regulatory issues Apple has been facing with different places around the world, and they are focusing trying to get a better handle on privacy and security of the App Store, which is something they got to do. And then of course a lot of the heat that came from the antitrust lawsuit between them and Epic is always has not made things too terribly exciting either. So they are giving a deadline in December to make a lot of the changes that they need to make to get this in place. Did you have any insights on this App Store thing?
I think when the dust settles from this, it's going to have a negligible impact on Apple's revenue.
Right.
Yeah, I think that most people will continue to do in-app purchases because, like Apple in-app purchases, because It's there, it's easy, it's convenient, and for the people where it matters, they feel that there's more of a trust that they can have because Apple is managing the transaction.
Yep. Other thing that's really affecting them that they said they have about $6 billion in loss because of supply constraints on all products, and notably the iPhone 13 supplies have been horrible. So glad I got my iPhone when I did, when it first came out, and didn't lose it because of the credit card, the snafu Tim Cook did say that he does feel very good about where the demand is for the 13 of terms of sales versus the iPhone 12, but supplies are constrained, and Apple hasn't been able to meet demand because of that reason. But that's a whole industry-wide thing. I mean, I'm looking at computer monitors, Dell specifically. They go out almost 6 to 8 months before a monitor is available. I mean, the supply chains are just so incredibly thin right now. But as the article said here in Mac Rumors, that they did lose about $6 billion in revenue because of the supply constraint issues. So there are long wait times for the iPhone 13, 13 Mini, 13 Pro, and 13 Pro Max. So it's affecting all four models in the line. So buyer beware if you're looking for a new iPhone now. You may have to wait a little bit before that pops in here. So, and as I mentioned, the services industry, it was all-time quarterly revenue record. Apple has almost 745 million paid subscribers, ranging from Apple Music to the in-app purchases, the subscriptions that people are paying through the App Store. So it just keeps going and going. Fitness Plus, I have the Apple One bundle, and now we got SharePlay, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, and expanding to more countries. So it's just going to continue to grow. I don't see it going anywhere but up.
I agree. All those times when Apple was really starting to make this push into really being a services company as a big part of their business, and I was saying they're doing it. This is where they're going, and people were saying nope, Apple. This is not a place Apple is going to have success. Well, it looks like this is a place where they can have success.
Yep. Absolutely. So, let's go ahead and move on. iOS 15.1 was released this past week, along with macOS Monterey. So there was a very busy week in the world of Apple when it comes to OS updates and releases, and all of us have been upgrading. And but let's talk about iOS 15.1 a little bit here. everything that's fun, that's new. The biggest thing was SharePlay, and I don't know about you. I start trying to play around with SharePlay. It is pretty amazing. And have you had any experience with it so far?
No. Sadly, my week has been so busy that coordinating with someone to try SharePlay, I just haven't been able to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, I guess you and I should try it then.
Yeah, we should, because I haven't been able to do this yet with anyone.
Yeah. You know my number, so let's give it a shot here.
That's a good point. I do. So it turns out I actually didn't have an excuse.
Yeah, no, you're busy.
Just didn't realize it till right now.
So I'm pretty impressed with it so far. I tried it, and cool thing of not only, of course, the big thing that they advertised was the fact that you can share watching a movie with somebody, whether it be Disney or Netflix or whatever on your iOS device, and be able to be almost sitting in the same room. The biggest cool thing though is the sharing of your screen, and you can, and this is going to come in handy for tech support, because now someone can share their screen and you'd be able to say, hey, look at this on my phone. Why is this doing this? Or doing, tech support for your family.
Yes, I am really looking forward to that.
I started playing around with it a little bit, and it's pretty impressive that people, I could see their screen, they could see my screen, and you could point things out.
I have to share with you the way I've been dealing with this with family members. Mm-hmm. So I can't wait to get all of them on iOS 15.1.
Yeah.
So I'll use my parents as an example, and I'm trying to walk them over the phone through fixing a setting or something, and they're just not getting what I'm saying. And so I'll have one of them take a photograph of the other person's iPhone screen and then text it to me. And you do what you have to.
Yeah, of course.
Your family. And once they've installed iOS 15.1, I won't have to do that anymore. Because it's always when the same thing. You tell someone, tap this, and okay, now tap this, and they don't understand you, and they tap the wrong thing, mm-hmm. and now they're going down a different path without realizing that they aren't doing what you thought you were telling them. Good times. So anyhow, I'm excited for this.
Oh yeah, for sure. SharePlay is here. It's finally, they couldn't release it when it first came out. There were too many bugs, so Apple decided to hold back on it until this 15.1 version. And we'll be talking about 15.2 just near the bit here. Beta's already come out, so of course there's never a dull moment when it comes to beta here. The other thing too is in the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max, the ProRes support is now in play. So now you can go in and set your video capture and be ProRes format in the camera app. This wasn't beta 3 of 15.1, so you could test it. The way to enable this, you got to go into ProRes, go into settings, then camera, then enable ProRes under formats. ProRes is useful for editing, but it takes a huge amount of storage space. And I'll also add that caveat: if you bought an iPhone 13 Pro and it doesn't have at least 256 gigabytes of space, you're out of luck. It's not going to work because Apple has restricted the use of ProRes unless you had at least a 256 gigabyte internal drive. With this,
that's smart.
I think it's smart because those files, minute or 2 minutes, is going to be 10 and 20 gigs probably. So it'll just get absolutely enormous.
Yeah, you don't have space on iPhone 13 to shoot a feature-length movie.
No, not at all. So I went with the 256 because I'm not a heavy video shoot. I don't shoot a lot of video, but I think that's going to be it's a good sweet spot. That'll give me enough that if I will decide to do a ProRes video, of course, got to try it out. So see how really good it is, and that's a good sweet spot. But there are plenty of people who are buying the 512 and the one terabyte space and spent some good money for that. So if you're a heavy duty video user, you're probably going to want to consider the higher the bigger space for the phone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, And then the other thing a lot of people were complaining about was the macro mode, which I don't mind, honestly. The 13 Pro has that macro mode where you just go and zoom up, you focus on something. It's up to 2 centimeters. And the camera automatically adjusts. It sees that you're getting really close, and it just toggles right into that ultra wide format, so you can get really close to an object. Well, they now have added the ability to turning that off. There's a switch that you can go in there and go in the camera setting, and just check it off and say you don't want that auto macro toggle to be there. So
I think that's smart.
Yeah, because a lot of people just don't like it, and they're not they don't like to have it turned on. So
I would probably leave it turned on because me too. I love doing close-up shots. But if I was setting up a shot where there's something close that I want to make sure stays out of focus, then I would want to have the ability to turn it off.
Yeah,
so yeah,
absolutely.
Good call.
Absolutely. So, and then the other thing too, I just did it, the COVID-19 vaccination record. We were just talking about that earlier with our third shots here. In iOS 15.1, you'll be able to add your vaccination record in the health app. So if your health app is linked to your doctor and has all the information about your vaccines, which mine was, it automatically will allow you to add it to the wallet. The wallet app, and it'll have a QR code. So if someone needs to scan to prove that you are vaccinated, that's there now. And
it's awesome.
And I know some people are probably not too excited about that. If they like privacy, then don't use it, basically. Well,
it gives you more privacy than handing someone a card that has all your information on it. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
And then there was a big problem with iOS 15.0 when it first came out about unlocking your iPhone with your Apple Watch. And it was fixed with 15.01, kind of. But 15.1, it is working again. And, of course, you're upgrading the Watch OS to 8.1. And that should take care of it as well. So that was a good thing that they fixed that finally. Other thing I was going to talk about is HomePod. Now, HomePod 15.1 software is out as well, and I updated all my HomePods. I'm sure you did as well. And
right away,
yeah, because I know you're a big HomePod user, and so am I. The lossless audio and Dolby Atmos with spatial audio is now available for the HomePod. That's the HomePod and the HomePod Mini. The way you go into that is you actually go into the Home app, you open up the Home settings, tap your profile, and under the media, there's you tap in Apple Music, and then from there you can toggle on lossless audio and Dolby Atmos. So I thought, if you give a little more insight again about audio. We've talked about this before. Even though this is a Bluetooth type of device, are you truly getting this audio?
Yes, because the way you're getting it in this case is not Bluetooth. It's Wi-Fi. So you have the bandwidth on Wi-Fi that you don't on Bluetooth. So you can send those larger files through, so you can play the higher quality audio. So yes, you actually are getting higher quality audio files this way.
Okay, great. And then Home app added some features, including some automatic triggers that can be created based on HomeKit-enabled sensors that detect humidity, air quality, or light level. The shortcuts, they've included new actions that for overlaying text and images or GIFs, whichever you prefer, and are new. And there's some new Siri games. I haven't even looked at that yet, as far as that goes. In the iPhone 12, the battery algorithms have been updated, so it'll give you a better estimate of how much battery capacity you have over time. So they've improved that. That's great. iPad now has live text improvements. The update added above listed features and support for live text in the camera app. So not even taking pictures with your iPad, the camera can detect text phone numbers, and just like it can on your iPhone, which is great. Because although I'm not a huge fan of taking a picture with my iPad, I don't know about you,
but I'm not. but when I need to do it, I really need to do it.
Right.
So I want things to work there, so that the rare time when that becomes the camera that I have to use, I just want everything to work.
Absolutely. And then were some bug fixes, which we always can expect, with the photo storage, with the weather app, the wallet app, Wi-Fi. The photo app may have incorrectly reported the storage is full, and when you're importing photos and videos, weather app may not show current temperature for my location, or may display colors of animated background. So it's a multitude of bugs that you're dealing with here. Available Wi-Fi networks may not be detected. I was seeing that actually on my first gen iPad. And I was saying the Wi-Fi was off, but really it was on. So,
yes, I was seeing that too.
Yeah. So it looks like that they have done some good bug fixes on that too. So, but go out, get it. If you're using 15.0 or 15.0.1, I would hope, go out and update it. It's well worth the upgrade. It's safe to do. So, and you definitely should go jump on it. So, and then let's go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just reaffirming what you said with the big yep.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's talk a little bit about beta. Beta this week, right away. This week, 15.2 beta 1 was released. Is released to public as well as to developers. So the biggest features that were added that's new in 15.2 is app privacy report. This is one of the additions that Apple showed off at WWDC. It's a new privacy feature that is designed to allow users to see how often apps have access to their sensitive information, which is great. I want to be able to see this. I know we had made a huge deal out of this during DubDub. It's finally here, and we can actually see what these apps are doing. It's like, I'm interested to see where some of these apps are looking at, and at least have an understanding. I'm sure Facebook's going to light up like a Christmas tree. It tells you if it's contacted other domains, how it's recently contacted them. So you're going to get some pretty good details with the app privacy report with 15.2 we start testing that. So and then the other feature they added was auto call, the feature that lets you let's call emergency services with a series of button presses. It's been updated in 15.2. You can now press the side button rapidly multiple times to initiate, or hold the side button and the volume button together. I don't know if you need emergency. I don't know if you're going to have the coordination to do that, honestly. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. I want to try this out, but I also don't.
No, because it'll call 911.
Call emergency services. But the way Apple has everything set up right now, prior to 15.2, for calling emergency services, unless this is something you practice all the time, the fastest way to do it is to unlock your phone, tap the phone icon, tap the keyboard button thing so that you have the number pad, and then tap 911 and call.
Yep.
It's which is crazy, but I mean, all the other, here's the shortcut thing, here's the fast way. That's not stuff people are going to remember when they have a crisis situation.
No.
And I've seen people like at traffic wrecks at intersections, because they happen all the time around me, and there's people looking at their iPhones trying to figure out how to call the police, and I'm just like, swipe phone 911 dial, and because it's faster. So if you can do something where you just jam the side button a lot and then all of a sudden it calls 911, okay, that's a lot easier to remember.
Absolutely. That's about it with 15.2. It's beta. As I always say, other than Warren, we always say don't download beta unless you have an extra device and not be your primary device that you're using every day, because you don't know what's going to happen.
I will not channel Warren on this one.
No, I will channel you. I will not.
You're absolutely right.
I only put it on devices that I don't care if they'll blow up because I can fix them later.
Yes.
That's why I have extra iPhones and one extra iPad. So they did seed out a first beta for Watch 8.3, which was interesting. They skipped .2, so I'm not sure why they did that, but they did. Again, go ahead.
Didn't 8.2 come out as the update this week for Apple Watch?
I think it's still 8.1, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm about to look because why not? Let's see. Watch.
I go in settings.
About. And
you'll be quicker than me.
8.1, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they didn't release it. So again, they don't get a lot of details. There isn't really, there really wasn't much. It seems like the updates throughout, even the updates for the Apple Watch have gotten a lot more efficient, and it hasn't taken as long as they've done in the past. They'll download it into the iPhone, and then it's ready for it to be pushed to the watch, and it's gone quite well, I must say.
Yes, so much better than it was in the beginning.
Yeah, I must say. So we got that, and then tvOS, of course, they released stuff. Nothing too terribly exciting about that. iPadOS is also updated as well. So the beta is going strong as it always does here. So next story, they did also release the AirPods 3. We did talk about it the last few weeks once they were announced, and now everybody's got them in their hands. They're doing a lot of comparisons between the two. I was glad, as I mentioned last time, that Apple did put a midline version of the AirPods as available as far as that goes. So really you have to ask the question, would you get the third generation AirPods, or where they're calling them AirPods 3, or the AirPods Pro? Well, the notable difference is, I'm using the AirPods Pro, really like them. They've got the AirPods Pro have the silicone tips that you can go and for adjustments or for your ears. They are saying that the AirPods 3 do fit better than the second gen AirPods that are still on the market, and also are shorter and about the same length as the AirPods Pro, so they look pretty close. The case is about the same too. It's wireless charging, so you really got some pretty close comparisons. Your pricing though, you got $179 for the AirPods 3, and then you have $249 for the Pros. But you also can find the Pros on sale a lot. I've noticed as of late that there is that can be had. Like, I think Amazon's been selling it for like $199, so it's extra $20. But what are you going to get? What are you gaining with the Pros? Well, you're gaining the noise cancellation, which I think is awesome. I believe they both have the spatial audio. Yes. But the Pros also have the transparency. So that's really the notable big differences between the two. And I can attest from experience that that does work very well, and really gives you some good noise cancellation. Really, you've got to choose which one you really want, and I think that the AirPods 3 are perfectly good models. Which ones do you have? You have the Pros, or do you have the AirPods?
I have the Pros, yeah. And I had my AirPods up until like a week ago when I gave them to a friend who lost theirs. I'm like, "Well, here, just take these."
Yeah. No sweat.
I should sell the stuff that I have, but I just like giving it away to people.
I know. I do.
I'm not doing capitalism very well at all.
Yeah.
Anyhow, AirPods Pro, and I'm really happy with them. So much so that at night, if I'm watching TV on the couch, instead of pulling out my big JBL wireless headphones for watching TV, I'm just using my AirPods Pro now.
Yeah. No, I really like them. I mean, it freaks me out watching an Apple TV Plus. I was watching the morning show a couple times now. Now we're sadly not having any Ted Lasso episodes. I'm going through withdrawal already. I'm sure many of us are. Mm-hmm. But just sitting there and turning your head left and right, I'm like, oh my God, where am I? It's pretty phenomenal.
I have to sit when I'm watching TV with my AirPods Pro, because otherwise, the sound for me just kind of gets disoriented. Like, wait, now where am I, and where are the people? Yep.
Yep. So check them out, and I can attest that you definitely can go with either model and be very happy with it. I wouldn't cut corners and go with the low end model unless you really are trying to cut some cost, because you'll be much happier with at least the threes with that. So.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you have a very specific use case where that entry level is the right thing for you, spend the extra money and get the AirPods 3.
Absolutely. So, a couple stories I brought over. We were going to talk about last week, but I'm going to talk about this week. I found this really cool poster, and I got it blurred actually on my screen right now. That's actually in dark in this room, but I had it framed and everything. It's the evolution of the iPhone. And it is behind me if you're watching on live video, but it's probably a little blurry. You probably can't see too much, but I have a link to it in the show notes here. I bought it from Etsy. There was somebody was actually put this together. I think it's really, really cool.
It is really cool.
I've got it as my background, and I really love it. So, and to go back and look at all the iPhones and Jeff, you probably could just go look at yourself to see of all the models you owned.
I'm double checking the list right now.
Yeah. And it's
I've bought a lot of iPhones.
I counted 18 for me.
I'm not even going to count because I'm just looking at this and I'm seeing dollar signs for every iPhone.
Oh my gosh, it's just insanity. I know that but I was part of the upgrade program. So after time, I just went through it and it is what it was. But the only phone I did not own the first gen. I did not drink.
I did own the first gen.
I didn't drink the Kool-Aid until 2008. The 3G was my very first. But if I go through each one of these, I had the 3G, the 3GS, the 4, the 4S, the 5. I did not have the 5C. Did have the 5S. I had the 6.
I didn't have a 5C.
And then I went through the 6. I had the Plus ever since that point. 6 Plus, 6S Plus. I did have the SE. I bought that as an extra phone, so I guess that counts.
Yep, that counts. I didn't get an SE.
And I had the 7 Plus, I had the 8 Plus, and then I bought the 10 and the 8 Plus within 2 months of each other. There's always, you go back to listen to one of the old episodes. I said, I'm not going to buy it. I like the 8 Plus because it was a bigger phone. I gave in and got the 10.
That's funny.
2 months later, and sold the 8 Plus like right away and took a loss. I do have the 10R. I'm actually using the 10R as a camera right now. And then I've had each one ever since. The 10S Max, the 11 Pro Max, the 12 Pro Max, and of course now the 13 Pro Max.
Yeah. Looking at the list, didn't get the 5C, didn't have the iPhone SE.
Nope.
But like pretty much everything up through the 10, and then I jump from 10 to 12 Pro.
Yeah, so check it out. It's a fun poster, and I actually print when you buy it. It gives you like 4 different sizes. So I have the 24 by 36, and I had it printed through a printer, and then put it in and had it framed. And actually, it's really good quality. And this guy did a really good job. He's got a Mac one.
It's probably the right size to fit in an IKEA frame.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the frame I have behind me here. But it's fun. He even has one for an iPhone for Macs too. So not every Mac, but that
would be a really big poster.
Yeah,
or really
it would be.
Pictures.
And then this actually is running out too because there's a lot of iPhones on this page. So thought that was cool. Other topic I wanted to talk about here is there was one thing I discovered here lately with the T-Mobile and an iPhone. You had all of a sudden it started saying 5G UC, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I didn't even see that before. And this is on T-Mobile cellular network, and what does it stand for? It stands for ultra capacity. So when you're anywhere on the T-Mobile network in 5G. I got a link in the show notes with the article about this through How to Geek, actually. The icon indicates that that's the type of connection, the network that you're connected to. And iPhones in September of this year, 2021, started beginning to appear on this. And what is 5G ultra capacity? It's T-Mobile divides their network into two types: the extended range, which is the type of 5G that is roughly as fast as 4G LTE, but blankets most of the country, including most of the less built-up rural areas. Then the 5G ultra capacity, which is faster 5G that promises greater than 4G LTE speeds. Me being in a big metropolitan area like Chicago, you're definitely going to see some ultra high speeds. And so you're technically either connected to the mid-band or the millimeter band wave, depending on where you are, what they are. And the other question too is how is this appearing on with other carriers? Other carriers will see different types of logos. I don't know if it's necessarily say you see whatever AT&T or Verizon or any other services have it, or Android devices you won't see that extra logo. But that could change in the future. Not like I care about Android. But do you guys get the high capacity speed? I forgot which carrier you have.
I'm on AT&T, yeah. And my interpretation of this is that T-Mobile was showing 5G for their 5G in name only network, and then you see when it's actually a 5G network. And T-Mobile was doing it the other way, where they'd show 5GE right. when it's not really the 5G network, and then just 5G when it's really the 5G network.
Yep. So it's interesting, and I can definitely tell you that the 5G network has vastly improved. And I could tell you that the T-Mobile is the champ. It really is. It's just amazing how incredible the speeds have been. It's always fun. I always drive past if I'm nearby a tower. I'm sitting in my car at a stoplight, of course, and run speed tests, and I get 800 and 900 megabit speeds. It's like holy. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
When you're on a true 5G network,
it's absolute insanity. So T-Mobile still never ceases to amaze me. I'm so happy I switched to them, and I've been a very, very happy customer with theirs. For quite a long time here. So a couple years, at least 3 years, I think now. Time has flown by. Nice. Time has flown by here. So, and then a couple other tips here I want to talk about real quick. OS X Daily did this story about how to back up your voice memos on your iPhone. I don't know if you do use the Voice Memos app very often. I use it once in a while.
I used it a long time ago to do some testing, and then because I thought, this would be a great way to take notes, and it turns out for me it wasn't. So
okay.
No, I haven't used it in a super long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, but there's still a lot of people that do use it. And if you don't want to buy a different app to do this, and there's plenty of apps out there that record voice memos. And Apple's made it really easy how to back it up. You can back it up to iCloud, actually. So if you go into the settings app in the home screen, then you go and tap your name or your Apple ID that's listed in the settings. You scroll down and go down to iCloud. And then once you go to iCloud, there is a choice under iCloud that says voice memos. And just make sure that's turned on. And that's going to be backing up. Every single voice memo in iCloud. So you'll be confident from now on that everything will be backed up there. I've got more space in iCloud I know what to do with, so I have everything backed up there now. With having the 2 terabyte plan with the family sharing, there's plenty of space for everybody. And then there are ways of backing up your voice memos if you wanted to use AirDrop. If you're not using it for iCloud, then you want to resort to maybe some little different, less convenient ways of doing that. In the recording, there is a little ellipse that's listed right next to the play button. Then the menu, of course, the share sheet will come up, and then you got share, and then it'll give you the option to AirDrop the file, probably AirDrop it to your Mac or to somebody else if you so choose. There are also other ways you can share it other ways. So they've gotten real flexible with the voice memo app, and really give you options to really back things up and do a good job of backing them up. So my tip for this week on the voice memos app.
That's awesome.
And one other thing we'll talk about here, this actually was in Lifehacker, talking about your iPhone that actually had some secret codes. There are some hidden numeric codes, and I've always had fun playing with this. Things like dialing star 67 in front of a number. Remember that when it would shut off your caller ID?
Yes.
And then pound 31 was also known to work for placing anonymous calls. And then showing your caller ID, you can opt to turn it off. You can dial *82. Of course, this is carrier beware. So depending on the carrier. It doesn't say that, but I would venture to say that. Blocking outgoing calls. If you want to you're handing your iPhone over to someone, can be an excruciating exercise, as the article says. But if you want to, there is a quick dialer code to block all outgoing calls. You dial *33# followed by a four-digit PIN. So you do *33# and then 1234#. That PIN ensures someone can't easily disable the block. And once they hit the call button, the feature will load and it kicks into effect. That is really cool. I didn't even know that. You could.
That is cool. All right. So can you make a shortcut that does that?
I would bet.
And then you could set it up so you just go, "Hey, S lady, block calls."
I think that's one of your
hand someone the phone.
That's one of your videos for coming up here to create that shortcut, huh?
Well, I'm going to test it, and if it works, I guess I'll have to make a video.
All right, we have to find out about that. You always had the ways if you can check your iPhone's cell signal strength. So you can go in and actually dial *3001# #12345# and it'll bring up the field test menu and allows you to be able to measure the how your signal strength is. That's getting some really geeky stuff in here now.
It is, but it doesn't have as much info as it used to.
Yeah, it doesn't. And then checking your IMEI without having to go through a bunch of stuff, you can just do a dialing *#06#. Then it'll give your IMEI information. Comes right up on the screen. That's a lot quicker. Then there's codes for your carrier details and enabling call waiting. So check out this article. I thought this was interesting information out there for some tips on how to do that. So one more thing I wanted to talk about is there's an app pick, and actually this is actually an upgrade to an app. And I absolutely love Camo. It's made by a company called Reincubate, and I'm using it right now. I use it to use my iPhone as a webcam on my Mac when I'm doing any video, and that's how I do the podcast, is using my Mac and my iPhone and an iPhone. And Camo did some pretty amazing upgrades this time around. And they've added Snap AR as some of their features. And there's video on there from the founder of Camo. Gives you some of the steps here, but there's a lot of AR that you can start playing around with some of the stuff. It all depends on the app and what you're doing. But Camo is a really great app. They have the Camo Pro is $4.99 a month. Or you can pay $39.99 annually, but they're not saying this in the article. I paid the lifetime subscription of $79.99, so I'm a lifetime subscriber to Camo now. So it's pretty cool. Camo on the Mac side of things, the app, they did add some really cool presets. If you aren't noticing, if you're watching the video and notice my name and the logo for In Touch with iOS, they've now added some really cool overlays that you can add, and you can edit them, and you can modify them. They've even added some of the cool modes here where you can make your face it's like a preset. You can do things like a tropical Hawaii thing, and you can do all kinds of crazy things I'm doing here on the video. People aren't seeing this, but
that wasn't tropical Hawaii.
It didn't seem like it, but that's what it said it was. But there was where is that? I was just playing with it earlier, and I'm not seeing it here. But they do give you options where you can put emojis in your face and all that fun stuff. So that they've added some fun things to this. I think this is in the overlay. But anyway, they do have that too. So they really come a long way with this app, and check it out. It does have a free trial, so you can try it out with your iPhone. For those of you who want to, because I would tell you what, the iPhone is probably the greatest webcam you could ever have. It is pretty awesome. It really is. And luckily I have a second iPhone that I can use. So because that's with me doing shows all the time with talking about iPhone, it's hard for me to have that as my cam and then have to go back and look at it during the show. So it does does be helpful that it does have that. So, but with that, I think that's a wrap for this week. We talked about lots of great stuff, and glad everybody was here.
Fast.
It did. It's flown by here. So let's go ahead and wrap things up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. We are recording the show on our live stream every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/DaveG65, where you can also watch past streams as well as listen to any of the episodes. We also have a link in the show notes here for the In Touch with iOS Flipboard magazine, where many of the topics we talk about are posted there on our Flipboard magazine, so go ahead and check that out as well. You also can subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. And Jeff, as always, thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
Oh, well, thanks for having me back. It's always a blast. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, JGamet both places, youtube.com/JGamet for my videos, and apparently you've committed me to yet another video.
Hey, so. I always have to try sometime get you a video. It's been a while.
Well, I appreciate that, so thank you. And what are the other shows? Big Show on Thursdays, Mac Show on Fridays, Mac Voices Live on Tuesdays, and I did macOS Ken this week.
Yes,
as well.
I heard. I'll go take in a few minutes. That was a great episode. I just listened. Check that out.
You get to listen to the story about how I fell on my butt twice.
and Ken took full advantage of that. So
he totally did. Well, good for him.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon.